Hi there, I'm Logan Medish, and this is High Caliber History. Now, a little bit of different and kind of sad news to bring to you today. Museums around New Zealand are now going to be required to hold a firearms dealer's license in order to collect, hold, and display firearms, and they were given just 2 months to apply for this license. The new rule comes as part of changes made to the Arms Legislation Act of 2020, which impacts current dealer licensing rules. It was open for public comment for 1 month, during which it received only 3,205 comments. The International Council of Museums Aotearoa New Zealand board member and National Services Te Parangi head, Victoria Essen, said that the new firearms licensing rules would, quote, help ensure that museums are more secure, better documented, and that all staff who are responsible for arms in museums are aware of their responsibilities and have the knowledge and skills to mitigate potential security risks. She went on to say that museums within our sector are working proactively with the New Zealand Police to work through the detail of the impact and requirements of the licensing changes within our sector. Furthermore, our shared priority is to ensure that all museums receive the advice and support they need to ensure that they can continue to hold and display firearms in their collections in compliance with the Arms Licensing Act. Now, under the new rules, those displaying firearms must also apply for a firearms dealer's license, and they have until August 23rd to submit an application. And of course, just because they apply for a license does not mean that they will get one, so we'll see how that goes for them. The president of the Sporting Shooters Association of New Zealand, Neville Dodd, has voiced concerns about the potential impact of the new rules. Quote, museums are already required to have a standard firearms license if they hold firearms in their collection, says Dodd. To now require that they hold an annual firearms dealer license just adds pointless complexity and cost for no purpose, as museums are obviously not in the business of buying, selling, hiring, or manufacturing firearms and are therefore not dealers. That's pretty much summing it up. He also said museums had adequate security to ensure firearms were safe, and the new law would only discourage them from fulfilling their function of displaying some of New Zealand's significant pieces of history. Dodd says, firearms are a significant part of New Zealand's world history, and inhibiting the preservation of that history with pointless and complex law changes will lead to a significant part of that history being lost for future generations. Now, the New Zealand Police were not able or would not confirm the cost of a firearms dealer license for museums, but their website currently lists the cost at 204 New Zealand dollars per year, which at this point in late July 2020 is about $142. Now, this story was brought to my attention by the Facebook page for the Lithgow Small Arms Factory Museum in Australia. You may recall that I wrote about their museum struggles with new regulations back in 2019 that would turn guns in their collections into, their words, metal blobs. If you didn't read those stories, I'll put a link to those articles in the description box below. It's very important to pay attention to that because the folks at the Lithgow Museum in Australia know what's coming for their neighbors in New Zealand. And a staffer at the Lithgow Museum said, quote, this is disappointing but not surprising. It is increasingly becoming a worldwide trend for governments, and many of those bodies supposedly representing museums, to ignore the historical, educational, or cultural significance of museum firearms. Instead, they view them as objects of little value, putting onerous and often damaging conditions on the museums that keep them. A museum is not equivalent to a firearms dealer or any other firearms stakeholder, and they should not be treated as such. really couldn't have put it any more succinctly than they did over at the Lithgow Museum. So here's hoping New Zealand is able to fight the good fight and make the best out of a bad situation. If there are any more detailed changes or updates, I will let you know. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of High Caliber History. Let me know in the comments what you think about this situation for the New Zealanders. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.